Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My dear learners, how are you? I hope you will be fine. My dear learners, today I will talk about the introduction of health and safety, introduction of health, safety and environment, and we will also discuss that what is the role of safety officer in the organization and why the health and safety department is established in the organization, and we will also discuss in detail that why company will appoint me as a safety supervisor, as a safety manager, as a safety engineer. Basically, when we talk about the word safety, there are different definition of the safety. Sometimes we say safety mean protection, safety mean precaution against the danger, and usually I consider the most comprehensive definition of the safety is control of losses, control of damages, control of accident. So it means that we all know that when there is an accident, organization will have to face the different types of the cost. So it means that safety means protection against these losses or these damages. Now question is that we are going to become a safety supervisor, we are going to become a safety manager. It means that as a safety supervisor, we have a sole responsibility in the organization to control the losses of the organization. If we are able to control the losses of the organization, if we are able to control the accident of the organization, then my performance as a safety supervisor, as a safety manager, that is good. If number of accidents are there and safety supervisor is also there, it means there is a question mark on the performance of safety officer, that he is not competent, he is unable to control the losses, he is unable to control the damages of the organization. So it means that if he is competent, he needs to improve his skill. So in most of the organizations, safety officer is called HSE engineer, HSE coordinator or HSE supervisor. So when we talk about the word HSE, H means health, S safety and E for environment. Mean as a safety officer, we are responsible for employees' health. We are responsible to provide the suitable and healthy working environment, as well as we are responsible for safety of the employees, for the safety of the equipment. So it means that question is that we are not a doctor, how will improve the health of the employees? Yes, this is the question. So it means that if we are providing the suitable and healthy working environment to the workers, to the workforce, ultimately they people will be happy, they people will be healthy. No question is that what is the good working environment? A good working environment is that which is having the suitable temperature, which is stress-free environment, which is what I should say having a coordination and there is a good interaction, as well as a good working environment is that which is having the emergency arrangements like firefighting equipment, like first aid, as well as that should be the coordinative as well as the interactive based working environment. So if this environment is good, there is no noise, there should be no noise at all, there should be no vibration at all, as well as there should be no overcrowding and there should no over occupying in that working environment. Meaning there should be a safe distance between person to person, as well as place to equipment to equipment. Then you can say this is the healthy environment, and if the environment is healthy, ultimately your employees will also be healthy and they will be happy. My dear learner, there was a time when employees asked that we must have an attractive salary, but now scenario has been changed. Now employees are demanding that we must be provided a healthy and safe working environment. We must be provided the education about the health and safety. We must be provided the awareness about the health and safety. So that's why a company tried to establish a safety department, just to educate the workers, just to promote the safety in the organization. And my dear learners, one thing which is very important I want to mention here, that safety is not only the requirement of the organization. Safety is also the requirement of individual. Safety is also the requirement of your family. Safety is also requirement of your organization, as well as your country also. It means when you are working safely in the organization, due to your working safely in the organization, four parties will be getting the benefit due to your safety. yourself, your families will be enjoying, your company will earn the profit, as well as your country. When you will produce any product, that product will be sold to foreign countries, and we call it in economics terminology, we call it the GDP, gross domestic product, or GNP. So it means that employers also want that they must be provided the healthy working environment, they must be provided the safety, so that the people should not face any type of accident. And one thing more, that nowadays good and healthy working environment, good health and safety management system is also the motivating factor for the employees. There are different reasons that how the employees can be motivated, how the employees can be satisfied in the organization. Health and safety is one of them. Because workers demand that we must be provided a safe working environment. We should come to work in the organization. We should work throughout the day safely, and if we are returning to our home at the end of the day to safely, it means that is the safety in the organization. So my dear learners, who will be responsible to providing the good working environment? Who will be responsible for safe return of the employees to their family, to their homes? Ultimately, safety officer. Ultimately, safety department is responsible. So it means that when we are talking about the safe return, it means safety officer, safety manager has to perform lot of activities in the organization. It would not be like a magic that safety officer will have a magic and all the losses of the organization will be controlled. No, he has to perform lot of activities. What will be those activities? What will be the responsibilities of a safety officer in the organization? To control the accident, to control the losses. For your information, I mentioned few one. For example, safety officer will be responsible to provide the trainings. This training can be related to how to work at height safely, how to work in the confined space safely, how to carry out the work on the electrical system, how to operate the machine safely. So it means that even a safety officer would also be responsible to carry out the risk assessment, to carry out the inspections, as well as safety officer, safety manager would be responsible to arrange the safety meetings in the organization, and safety officer would also be responsible to arrange the safety seminars in the organization. Safety officer would also be responsible to comply with all the health and safety laws in the organization. Mean he has to ensure the compliance in the organization. So it means that this would be only possible if we are working with self motivation, with intrinsic motivation. So again, I am coming towards the HSE, health, safety, environment. We are talking about employees' health. If environment is good, ultimately employees' health will be good. Now the next one is the safety. As we have discussed the definition of the safety, that means free from danger, free from accident. But question is that what type of safety, how many types of safety in the organization? My dear learners, there are two types of safety in the organization. One is the personal safety and the second one is the equipment or machine safety. As a safety officer, we are responsible to protect ourselves, as well as we are responsible to protect employees of the organization as well. And the second safety, that is machine safety, that is the equipment safety. I have to ensure that my equipments of the organizations are safe. There should be no damages. No question arises that we are the safety officer, we are the safety professional, how we can ensure the safety of the equipment. Yes, my dear learners, it does not mean that we should be a good mechanic. It does not mean that we should be a good operator, but minimum we should know about the equipment safety. What we should know? We should know that there should be the logbook of the machine. There should be an operating manual of the machine. Operator should be competent. All the moving parts of the machine should be properly guarded. The person who is operating the equipment or who is going to operate the equipment, he must be in possession of operating license. He must be having the driving license. He must be a authorized person. As well as we have to ensure that all the safety parameters have been met. Either there is a proper electrical connections, there is a proper earthing of the equipment, So it means that when we talk about the equipment safety, we have to ensure that all these parameters are available. If these parameters are available, then we can say with confidence that nothing will happen so far. So it means that as a safety officer will be responsible to protect the employees as well as will be responsible to protect the equipment of the organization. Now question arises. If usually this question is asked during the interview, that either employees of the organization should be preferred first or equipment of the organization should be preferred. Ultimately, human being is the should be preferred is always at the best or at the one. So it means that as a safety officer, we have to protect the employees first. We have to make the arrangement for the safety of the workers. But at the same time, my dear learners, we cannot ignore the safety of the equipment. Because that equipment is source of earning for me, source of earning for my employees. So, we have to ensure that safety should be in the organization. There should be no single accident of the organization. Now question arises, my dear learners, that either safety job is a difficult job or it is the easy job. Usually we say that the safety job is a very easy job because there is no physical work. We are always dealing with the workers, we are always arranging the meetings, seminars, we are always dealing with the communications, we are always dealing with the toolbox talk, or we are always dealing with the toolbox meetings. So this is all about the safety jobs. So usually we say that this is the authoritative job, high paid job, white collar job, but my dear learners, at the same time, safety officer job is the most difficult job of the world. How it is the difficult job? Because as a safety officer, I have to deal with the employee's mind. I have to change the mind of the workers. For example, if I have been appointed as a safety advisor in a construction company, and on my arrival I just call all employees and just tell them that, my dear all drivers, all workers, in future whenever you will drive a truck, whenever you will drive a car, any type of the vehicle, you have to follow the safety precaution, you have to use the seat belt, you have to use the safety shoes, you have to use the safety helmet. Then people will say, sir, we are operating these equipment from last 10 years, from last 15 years, nothing has happened so far. So it means nothing will happen in the future. It means I have to change their mind. It means I have to change their culture. And my dear learners, to change the culture, to change the mind, this is the most difficult job of the world. And culture or mind cannot be changed with 1 day or 1 week or 1 month effort. This is a continuous process. It means that I have to change their mind. And you know, mind cannot be changed with force. Mind cannot be changed with authority. For changing the mind, you have to arrange meetings, you have to arrange seminars, you have to arrange toolbox meetings, you have to convince the workers, you have to motivate the workers that how the health and safety is important for you and how the health and safety is important for your family. And moreover, we have to tell the workers, we have to educate them that your family is waiting for your safe return. If something wrong will happen with you, ultimately company will suffer. But company will have the alternatives. They can hire another one instead of you. But your family will suffer. You will suffer. It means, as we have discussed earlier, that safety is not only the requirement of the company. Safety is also the requirement of the individual, of the family. So it means that when we are working as a safety officer in the organization, generally we say that as a safety officer we have two options to get job done from the workers. One is the positive enforcement and the second one is the negative enforcement. So what is the positive enforcement? In positive enforcement, we try to convince the workers, we try to motivate the workers, we try to educate them that how the health and safety is important. What are the benefits by using the personal protective equipment? And what can be the consequences you will face if you will not follow the safety rules regulation? Consequences can be in the form of injury, can be in the form of disability, and in severe cases, consequences can be in the form of fatality. So it means we all know that life is a one-time activity. It will not give you another chance. If something wrong will go, has gone forever. So it means that we should not put our life on risk, because our family is waiting for our safe return. And further, I also usually when I provide the training to my workers on site, I usually say that the spare parts of the machinery are available in the market. But my dear learners, spare part of the human beings are not available in the market. So there is no second option. It's mean we have to educate the workers. It means we have to motivate the workers. It means we have to convince the worker that how you people are important. How you people are important for your family. That's why I usually say that the job of safety officer is a very difficult job, because you play with the mind of the workers. Because you are responsible to change the mind. My dear learners, this is called the safety culture. And you know, changing the culture, changing the mind of the individual as well as the organization culture, it's not easy job, but it's not difficult. It's not impossible as well. As I usually say during my training, that impossible itself says that I am possible. But it is up to you that how you make it possible. Ultimately, if safety officer is motivated, if safety officer is convinced, ultimately he can do everything. But again, it would be up to the top management commitment. If management is commitment or management commitment is there, ultimately they will be providing with the resources. They will be providing with the authority. They will say, Mr. Ramzan, whatever the resources you need, just let us know who will provide you, but we want zero accident. Then ultimately Mr. Ramzan will be working safely. Mr. Ramzan will be working with full dedication that this is my job. I have been authorized, I have been provided the sufficient resources to meet the requirement of the organization. So it means changing the culture demands continuous effort. Continuous effort means regular trainings, regular meetings, worker consultations, inspections, and the most important, that is the appreciation. Reward system in the organization. Means the person who is doing good and who is not doing good, there should be a difference. And usually it is called the legal discrimination. Person who is doing good, if you are encouraging, he will do it more properly and safely. And the person who is not doing good, ultimately, you would also be encouraging that please do it better. If Mr. Ramzan can be the man of the month, man of the years, why not Mr. Aslam? Why not you? So ultimately, there will be the competitive environment. So, you know, appreciation is very important, and usually we say that everybody is asking for appreciation. Either he is the supervisor, he is the manager, he is the general manager, or he is the managing director. If someone is doing good, he must be appreciated so that he will do it more better. So my dear learners, culture can be changed with motivation. Culture can be changed with justice. This is also very important. When you want to change the culture, when you want to develop your organization, you need to apply the justice in the organization. Justice means everybody should be equal in the eyes of law. Nobody should be above the law. Nobody should be below. Justice means that everybody should be treated equally. Treated equally means once we have the law in the organization that everybody is supposed to use the helmet when he is visiting the site. So this law should be for all. It does not mean that workers are only enforced, that they have to use these rules and regulations, they have to follow or they have to use the helmet. Rest of management is not bothering. So what do you expect? Either culture will be changed? Not at all. So it means culture can be changed if we have the justice. And in safety, we call it safety led by example. Safety led by example, it means if I am the safety manager and I am visiting the site, ultimately I have to use the safety helmet. I have to use the all those safety equipments which are mandatory to use on the site. If I will use, ultimately my worker will also fall. That Mr. Ramzan, who is our safety manager, he is using all the safety equipment. He is following all the safety regulations. Why not us? So this is called safety led by example, and we call it actions speak louder than words. So no doubt training is important, but your actions are also important. If you are following all those regulations, ultimately it will be the strong message for the workers that everybody is treated equally. Everybody is equal in the eyes of law. So ultimately, we can expect that there will be the change in the culture. And my dear learners, basically we were discussing about that as a safety officer, we have a two options to get job done from the worker. One is the positive enforcement. We have discussed in positive enforcement who try to convince, who try to motivate. But the second option is that is the negative enforcement. Negative enforcement means as a safety manager, we have been authorized by the company that Mr. Ramzan, you can terminate someone, you can give warning to someone, you can put someone on fines. So this is the negative enforcement. My dear learners, this option we can use, but it should be the last option. It should be the last option. So we always, usually 90% job of safety officer is related to the positive enforcement, and 10% in rare cases if someone is having the violation of frequently violation of rules regulation and he is not bothering us, ultimately we can make him the role model for the other workers, so that ultimately we would be from enforcement authority and agencies, all the rules regulations should be implemented in the organization. So my dear learners, so that's why I say that the safety officer job is not an easy job, because we have to play with the mind. Even during the training, once I was on training to some organization related to the chemical safety. Once I told them that please always when you are handling the chemicals, always follow the material safety data sheet and always use the safety procedures, safety guidelines, and always listen to your senior. Always listen to your safety supervisor carefully. But they people told me, sir, we are feeling comfortable while handling the chemicals. Why we should use these respiratory equipment? Why we should use these safety masks? I told them, my dear fellows, no doubt this time you are young and you have lot of resistance power against the diseases. That is called immune system. But my dear learners, when we talk about the chemical, we have two types of affecting chemical. Usually we say, even we talk about the dusting, we talk about the pollution, which have two types of effects. One is the immediate effect and the second one is the delayed effect. Immediate effect is you are handling the chemicals and you are not bothering the safety rules regulation. Ultimately there will be effect on your inhaling, breathing system. Immediately you will be unconscious. So this is called the immediate effect. But in some cases, once the exposure level is not high, but ultimately you are inhaling those chemicals, you are breathing your chemical. A time will come when your air will be over 50 or 45 or 60 and you will face different problems. When you approach to your doctor, he will say that, Mr. Ramzan, I think you have worked in some oil and gas industries. Your that system, your that body organ is severely affected. So my dear learners, staying safely does not mean that you are safe. Until and unless you are using the all safety rules regulation, you are following the all safety parameters. My dear learners, in delayed effect, we have two further effects. One is the somatic effect and the second one is the genetic effect. Somatic effect is that I am working in the textile industry, I am working in the construction industry and not following the safety rules regulation, not using the personal protective equipment, so effects can be in the form of somatic. Somatic mean that effect is only limited to my personality. Either I will face after 50 or after 60 years age. But there is another effect. That is the delayed effect. Delayed means that is a genetic effect. That those effects can be transferred in your genes, and your unborn child can be affected. So my dear learners, we have to educate the workers. We have to convince the worker. We have to tell them the benefits of safety. We have to tell them that what can be the consequences if you will not use the safety equipment, if you will not use the safety procedures. So my dear learners, generally we say that how the accident of the organization can be controlled. Even one time, last time my student asked me, sir, please let me know that if I am working as a safety manager in the organization, and due to my continuous efforts, due to my self-motivation, due to my continuous commitment, there is no accident in the organization. So a time will come when company will say, Mr. Ramzan, thank you very much, we don't need your services because we don't have any accident in the organization. So when we have accident, or when we need your services again, who will call you back? So my dear learner, is it possible that when there is no accident, it means safety department will be disbanded or finished? Not at all. If there is no accident, it means that the safety department, that the safety officer is working efficiently and effectively. Mean his performance is good. It means that safety officer is committed. It means that safety officer is competent. My dear learners, another question which is usually asked during the interview, that why the health and safety is important, or why a company will establish a safety department. My dear learners, the first and the most important reason to establish a safety department, that is the economic reason. That is the financial reason. Because we all know that when there is accident, ultimately accident can lead to the losses, can lead to the damages, and my dear learners, accident can having different costs. For example, if there is an accident, what can be the consequences of those accidents? There can be the replacement cost of the equipment. There can be the repair cost of the equipment. There can be the medical treatment cost of the individual, as well as there can be the training cost of new hired workers. There can be the recruitment cost of the workers. There can be the reputation loss in case of accident. There can be the investigation cost, as well as there can be the low motivation level of the workers, that is called the low morale of the workers. Your client will be lost, your production will be delayed, and furthermore, if we have the unhealthy, unsafe working environment and frequently accidents are happening in the organization, ultimately a time will come when employee will say, sir, thank you very much, we don't want to work in your organization because we are feeling unsafe in this organization, because we are also operating the same type of equipment as my other fellows are operating, and even as that individual was operating who got the serious accident. Even in case of accident, there will be the high insurance premium. Even in case of accident, legal action will be taken against the organization. There will be a compensation cost. There will be a fines. There will be a legal notice against the organization. So there will be many other accidents. If we have the accident, there will be many other costs which the organization will have to face. So it means that as a safety officer, we are responsible to control these costs. We are responsible to control these losses. If we are able to control these losses, ultimately we will be considered as a good safety manager, as a good safety supervisor. So the first reason to establish the safety department, that is the economic reason or that is the financial reason. Mean if we have the safety department, then we will having no accident, ultimately it will lead to the economic benefit for the organization. And if we want to calculate these costs, generally when I used to conduct the training investigation as a safety manager, I always say that your total cost of the accident is equal to direct cost plus indirect cost. So direct cost is that which organization is paying in the form of cash, or usually we call it the measurable cost, or we call it the financial loss. The second cost, that is the indirect cost. Indirect cost mean we are not paying in the form of cash, but there will be the loss. For example, there will be reputation loss, there will be the training cost, there will be a low motivation level of the workers, ultimately there will be a recruitment cost, there will be a client loss, there will be a production delay, production loss. So these costs are called the indirect costs. So when we say that what is the total cost of the accident, we always say that the total cost is equal to direct cost plus indirect cost. My dear learners, what do you think? Either direct cost of the accident is high or indirect cost of the accident is high? So the answer will always be that the indirect cost will be high. Indirect cost is not only high, that is 4 times higher than the direct cost. So the purpose to establish the safety department to control these losses, to control these costs. Usually we say that once the safety officer is getting 2 lakh or 3 lakh salary, it means he would be giving the benefit to the organization more than 50 or 100 million. So it means that the first and the prime reason to establish the safety department, to appoint me the safety manager, to appoint me the safety advisor, that is to control the losses, to control the damages of the organization, that is the economic reason. So my dear learners, second reason to establish the safety department, that is the legal reason, that is the legal requirement. In most of the countries, they have the law that company cannot be registered until unless they have the safety department, they have the competent safety officer. So ultimately, if I want to start my organization, if I want to get some contract, so I have to meet the legal requirement. I have to establish the safety department, I have to appoint the safety officer, I have to meet the legal requirement of the country. So the second reason, that is the legal requirement why a company will hire me as a safety manager. My dear learners, one more thing. Mostly this question is asked during the interview that Mr. Ramzan, if I will hire you as a safety manager, what benefit I will get from you? You mean to say that what benefit safety officer will give to the organization? The answer is, if there is no accident in the organization, ultimately your replacement cost will be saved, your repair cost will be saved, your investigation cost will be saved. Even organization can save the legal notice cost, compensation cost, enforcement action cost, fines cost, and even organization can save training cost, even can attract the more customers. Production will be delayed, your client will be happy, your employees will be happy, and not only happy, they will be motivated. And you know, when worker is safe and worker is motivated workers will always give the double output as compared to that worker who is not motivated. Even there was the comparison that if we have the motivated workers and we have the remote workers, their production was compared, and literally conclusion was that that the motivated workers was having more production as compared to the robot who does not exhausted, does not tired. So this is the importance of the motivation. So how you will convince your employer that what will do in your organization? Ultimately, I have to convince that I will try to control the accident of the organization. Your legal notice, there will be no legal notice. Your reputation will be high. Your employees will be motivated. There will be no training cost. There will be no investigation cost. And moreover, there will be no compensation cost. Employees will be happy. When employees are happy, satisfied and motivated, they will never leave the organization. Employee will be more loyal for the organization. They will be more efficient and effective for the organization if their people are motivated. So this is the reason which we have to show your employer that due to my appointment, these will be the benefit of your organization. So my dear listeners, the second reason to establish the safety department, that is the legal reason. Compliance. Third reason to establish a safety department, to appoint me as a safety manager, to appoint me as a safety supervisor, that is the social requirement. Society. Society means wherever you are doing the business, due to your working safely, due to your good business, your society, due to your production, due to your organization work, your society should not be affected. And even in every country there is the CSR, corporate social responsibilities. And even in our Pakistan, we have the law that when company having the contract, your client will always say that please provide us the EIA certificate. EIA certificate means environment impact assessment. So that client will try to know that either your organization is working for sake of money only, or they are also working for the betterment of the humanity, for the betterment of the society. What type of business your organization is doing? Either your society is safe, either your surroundings where you are doing the business, their people are happy, their people are safe. Even due to your corporate social responsibility, you have to compensate them, you have to accommodate them, you have to provide some facilities in the form of hospitals, in the form of roads, in the form of schools, in the form of other services, so that their people would be compensated due to their effects on their working environment or their business. So I was talking about the EIA certificate, environment impact assessment. So for example, I have the training center and I want to have a contact with some government organization. My government organization will say that Mr. Ramzan, no doubt your training center is good. We wish to have a contract with you, but I'll provide us EIA certificate, which will be provided by PIPA. PIPA stands for Pakistan Environmental Protection Authority. So I will approach with the PIPA, I will request them, please visit my organization. Their editors will come, their inspector will come and they will verify either due to my business, either there are some impact and effects on the society or not. If they will be satisfied and they will be happy, then they will provide me the EIA certificate, which I will produce to my client. This is my social responsibility, this is my social compliance, this is my corporate social responsibility. So my dear learners, this is also the social requirement that we establish the safety department in the organization. The next reason that why we establish the safety department, that is the moral reason. As a human being, we are responsible to look after the workers. We are responsible to educate the workers. If someone is working on the electrical system, if someone is working at height, if someone is operating the crane or someone is driving the truck, even someone is handling the chemical, we have to educate him. We have to brief him what is right and what is wrong. What precaution measures should be taken. How you should protect yourself. So this would be my moral responsibility. I have to educate them. I have to aware them that what is right and what is wrong. So it means this is the moral responsibility, and my dear learners, you all know that human being is the most superior in the universe. So we should always try to protect the workers. So we should always try to educate the workers. Even workers does not having the awareness. So safety officer is there who is always promoting the awareness, who is always educating the workers, who is always promoting the safety culture of the organization. My dear learners, what is the culture? Culture is the basically the way we do things, that is the culture. If we are doing things according to the safety procedures, according to the safety guidelines, according to the safety requirements, we are not taking any shortcut. We are always depending upon written procedures. We are always following the safety handbook. We are always following the standard operating procedures. We are always following the job guide JGs. We are always following the material safety data sheet. So basically that is the culture. Culture means the way we do things. If we are doing the things with the safety procedures, that would be the safety culture. And if we are doing the same things but with shortcut, it means that is the negative culture of the organization. So my dear learners, these are the 4 reasons why a company establishes a safety department, why a company will hire me as a safety manager. First one is the economic reason, that is also called the financial reason. Second is called the legal requirement, legal reason. Third one is called the moral requirement, and the fourth one is the social requirement. In most of the cases, social requirement can be the part of the legal requirement. So these are the different aspects of the health and safety. And my dear learners, safety job is not only safety officer job is not only limited to the construction or oil and gas sectors. Nowadays, in each and every organization, they have the safety department, they have the safety officer, they have the safety supervisors and safety manager as well. Now scenario has been changed. Now even your client is asking for safety setup. Your client is asking for timely delivery of their products. And your workers are well educated. Your workers are well aware nowadays. They are asking that we must be provided the safe equipment to operate. We must be provided the safe environment to work. There must be someone who will always be educating us. There must be someone who will always be awareing us that what is right and what is wrong. Because workers is not educated, they don't have that, they always go for the shortcut. So safety department is there, who will always be focusing on it. My dear learners, this was all about our introduction of health and safety. We have discussed different aspects. We have discussed the role of safety officer. We have discussed the safety. We have discussed the accident cost. And one thing more which is very important toward the health and safety, that is we call it the safety job. No doubt we have a white collar job, we have a authoritative job, but at the same time I told you it is the difficult job because we are going to play with the life of the workers, we are going to play with the mind of the workers. At the same time the safety job is the having the high moral reason. You can say this is the Sadka Jariya job. As a safety officer, as a safety supervisor, we are going to protect the life of the workers. So my dear learners, I hope you got some message in this video, and inshallah we'll see you again in next video with lot of information, with lot of motivation as well, because you know everywhere you need the motivation. If I am standing in front of you, why? I am motivated, I am self-motivated. And why you people will watch my videos? That will show your motivation. So both sides motivations are required. Your trainer, your presenter should be motivated. Your listener, your viewers should also be motivated. The most important thing is your message, which you are trying to convey to your audience. So, my dear learners, thank you very much. Your suggestions, your feedback would always be welcomed, and please subscribe my channel for latest video. You know, I need also motivation from your side, and motivation will be only that your input, your comments, your subscription on my channels. And thank you very much. This is the time to say Allah Hafiz.